Here we are again. I'm going to get this done, I promise. Okay, we have the armhole here on the little dress. I've got my zipper here in the back, my neckline, and armhole. Okay? Kind of puckered whenever I put my stay stitch in there, but not too bad. All right, so what we are doing is the first ruffle is going to go down on top of this, and I want it right sides together. So it's hard to tell on this fabric which is right side. I don't know that it really has a right side, but I want to make sure that the inside of my hem is on this side, which I did not know that. Let me get that done. All ironed nicely. All right. Now I'm going to take, and I was talking on the last one that I don't pen much, and I don't. But this is a situation where I will pin. So I'm going to put that, the middle of this. I found the middle. And I'm going to put that right there on that shoulder seam. And then I'm going to put an off-color pen right there across that seam so I know where that is. Now, the sleeve actually has, this part probably had notches and I probably just didn't get them done. So the notch for this should be about there. And let's see, the sleeve is going to gather starting about this little dot here. So I'm going to say, okay, my notch would be there. The sleeve is going to start gathering about right there. I really think I want this because it's a pretty big ruffle. I want it to go a little bit farther. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it down to almost where it starts to turn for the underarm. So I'm going to mark that about right there and start pulling on this. And whenever I did the gathering stitch, I just did the longest stitch on the machine as close to the edge of the ruffle as I could. So I'm going to spread this little gather out and try to fit it within this little area. Right in there. And I'm going to take this little pen and I'm going to pin that down there. And it's okay that I've got this extra sticking out. I don't know if you can tell. I've got some extra sticking out there. Oops, up a little high. And that's okay. It's just, but then we're going to just spread out these little gathers until they're fairly even going across there. And then I'm going to turn around and do that on this side too. And just sandwich this in. Okay, I'm going to pull that pretty close. I'm going to take it about right there. And I'm going to do another little pin right here. Okay, so I've got that little ruffle there, just kind of pulled right in there, and that's going to fit that area. Hopefully you can see. I don't know if I can get it down here just a little bit more without toppling everything right on top of me. How about that? Maybe? So I've got that right along the edge. Now I could go ahead and stitch that on there, but because I want to get this done as quickly as possible, I'm going to take, you can see how these ruffles were cut. They're cut with this curve here, and that's the part that you gather. It's the straight part that gets hemmed, and then that makes it have a curve inward and makes it flounce. So again, I want to find the middle, which already has a crease there, and I'm going to put that right on top of the middle there. Take that needle out, put it right there, and then let's see. Yep. And start gently pulling. You want to do it gradually and bit by bit. If you've got a lot of ruffles that you're doing, like on a broomstick skirt or something, well, and definitely the way I did the ruffles for the bottom of the dress, I did them in smaller increments, and just be really, really careful so that the ruffles don't want to, so that gathering thread doesn't want to break. So I'm going to go ahead and stick another pin right here, and then pull this over here. And they don't have to be even, and that's part of the reason that I did them separately, ruffled them separately. I could have put both of these down at the same time and ruffled them at the same time, but I really wanted to give them separate ruffles so that they would stand out from each other, because a lot of times if you ruffle them together, they will the ruffles will want to stick together. So I don't want that. I want them to be separate so they'll look super ruffly, because 3-year-olds need lots of ruffles. It's hard to believe she's going to be 3. She has hit the terrorizing 3s, the talented 3s. I hate saying terrible, you know, the terrible 2s. People talk about the terrible 2s, and I just don't like that. I never have. Of course, I don't like labeling. I've got a thing against labeling. I like for they're talented because they can get into so many things so quickly at this age. And she was over last week, and she was so busy. It's like, oh my goodness. That's why children are usually given to young people, because I didn't feel like I had the energy for it at that point in time. But I had more energy than I've got now. Well, in some ways. Now, something I did not do here on the sleeve, I did not do my ruffle on the sleeve here. And since it's going to have all of these ruffles, I'm really not going to worry about it. So if I was going to do this right, I would go ahead and ruffle from here to here. Go ahead and do that gathering thread and take it in. But I'm just going to pleat it as I go is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put this down here. And I'm going to watch really closely for my pins. And as I go, just slowly work these fabrics. Make sure I don't have any tucks or anything going on, that it kind of takes it on the other side. I'm going to have tucks whenever I get the rest of it going, but just kind of gradually go with it here. So see, that came a little lower than my I don't. And here we are, doing the imperfect thing again. How about that? It needs to be right sides together. So, we'll pull this out. And we're going to seam rip. Hopefully you can see. Just catch that little thread and just pull it right through. It's a good thing I caught it. I would have had that whole sleeve on there, and I've done it before. And would have been going, oh no, I sewed that wrong. Okay, now let's start this a little better. So I'm gonna start, because that right there is gonna have to kind of line up. So I'm gonna start here, get my thread all tucked in here, so hopefully it won't break. Hang on to it. Here we go. And then we're going to go ahead and pull that one out. Put it up in my pin cushion. And this is where I need to, let's see, where's my, there it is. I'm going to, this is the one right here that needs to line up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take these other two out because I've got this smushed down pretty good here. And I'm going to start tucking this fabric. The nice thing about gingham is if you want to, you can kind of tuck it in according to where the little gingham squares are. I'm obviously not taking that kind of time. And part of the reason that I'm not worrying about this is because these ruffles are going to cover a multitude of sins. So if this looks like a total and complete train wreck to you so far, pretty much that's how a majority of my projects look at this point. Okay, pull it to that middle part there. Make sure I'm getting things in. Put that there. And a lot of times I will go ahead and start at the edge again. And I may end up wishing I had on this one. I'm gonna tuck these kind of in here. So I've got, don't want it, there we go. Just trying to gauge these little pleats and tucks according to about what I felt like we did on the other side. And then we're going to have to make sure that we're going to come pretty closely with all of this. All right, I want to make sure I get that pin out of there. I don't like running over pins. I know a lot of the girls run over pins, and I am just not. I may not be persnickety about very many things, but I'm not comfortable about running over my pins. Okay, and then this is hopefully going to be very close once we get it there. Pretty close. Okay, let's let's see how I did. Ready? Okay, there's the little sleeve. Pretty well ruffled in there. Like I said, you can't really tell that I just hand did that. And then you're gonna have all of that ruffle on the shoulder once we get it all together. So who is going to know the difference, right? Isn't that adorable? So I'll do the same to the other side eventually. I'm just gonna go ahead. You know what? I just happened to think of something. I can't do the collar the way I was thinking about because I gotta have room for the zipper in the back. You probably already saw that, didn't you? So I guess that's got to go in the front. That's okay. So center of the dress is right here. I've got a crease there, so I pretty well know where it's at in the fabric because it was cut out on the fold. And that's going to come out pretty well the same. Now I'm going to do the collar the same way that I did it with the ruffle. I'm going to start at the middle of the collar again so that my dress is hopefully, this little dress is hopefully going to come. Well, maybe that isn't the middle. Better make sure, Dawnita. Pull it here. Guess that is the middle. Might actually just go ahead. And even if you do something a certain way, nearly every time that you do it, doesn't mean you can't change your mind. So, like I said, I seldom pen very much. I don't use pens a whole lot, but there are times when it is a good idea. So let's do that. Okay, and this little collar is actually a little bit bigger, but I think we're going to make it. I'm actually going to go ahead and start right here. I'm going to do that. Hide that little yellow right in there. On here a little bit there, so I want to okay, now probably getting ahead and now all the time, aren't I? Got a little tuck there, and most of these little tucks you can just kind of pull them out if you're going slow enough. Catch it. Going to be pretty. And then pull that zipper there. to be pretty good. Right, that will be fine. Okay, so we're gonna have this cute little collar in the front, these big old ruffles on the side, and then great big ruffles on the bottom as well. So what I need to do now is I will do some, I'm going to clip this like I did before. Go in here. And clip. None of that under fabric is getting in there. And this will give it just as much motion as possible. Okay, got that. Now I will take this bias tape. Yeah. And I'm going to fold it over here. If I had been just really working this, I would have went ahead and done this and then fold it over and do the thing, but I wasn't. So I'll have to decide if I want the bias tape to show up on the edges, which I don't really think I do, because I could do it like this with the bias tape on top, but I don't think that would really look as nice as if I get the bias tape on there and then it folds under and it just catches that little bit and doesn't show the bias tape. So that's probably what I'll do. So again, I will go over here. I'm gonna leave some edge so I can fold it under. Make sure I'm sewing in the fold of the bias tape, and I'm trying to make sure that that fold is just barely on the inside of the stitch line that I already have here. So hopefully my previous stitches won't show through. And the nice thing about bias tape is it's cut on the bias, which means it has a teeny bit of stretch. So it's got some give to it. That's why it doesn't work quite as well if you just cut a strip of fabric with the grain to do a facing. It just doesn't work as well. You really need your facings to be on the bias. So whenever you open up your patterns, you'll notice a lot of times the facings are on the bias. Now sometimes, because I hate messing with facings, I will just line the inside at least part way and just line the whole thing. and it just, to me, works a little bit better. I want to make sure I leave a little extra. Cut this. Okay. Now what I can do is I can either fold it like this if I want to. It doesn't really matter how it goes. If it goes like that, if I go ahead and fold it, the bias tape, and then fold it, I'm gonna go ahead and tuck it around here, over here where the zipper and the edge of the collar are. Tuck it in there. Ooh, pretty. Got those from the grocery store?
Yeah.
Roses. Yay! Cool. Pretty, pretty. Ah. You know where the vases are, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Make sure to trim them good. Yay! I love having fresh flowers in the house. My boys know that. My husband knows it too. He used to bring me fresh flowers all the time. Oh well. I'm gonna fold this and then this is a mess. I'm going to stick that, fold this in, so hopefully it's not causing an issue with the zipper, okay? And then I want this right here. I want that, so, and I don't want to have it stay stitched down to the dress too terribly far. I just want it kind of right under the collar. So poke the collar up, get this, get my machine where I want it, and then we're going to do this and just try to keep that. And like I said, because it's bias tape, it will stretch. So we're just going to ease that fabric of the dress in there. You're not going to see it because the collar is going to cover it up. And just get this bias tape sewed down and top stitched so that it's not in the road and the collar is up. So I have to ease that dress in there. Gradually get that in there. The same issue over here at the other end of the zipper and the collar. So we're gonna pull this down and try to just ease that in there. This isn't the prettiest or the best way to do this. It's the Dawnita lazy way. So whatever you decide to do with it, whenever you do it, will be excellent. And I'm sure the instructions, especially if I wasn't using 3 different dress patterns, would be much more explanatory on what I'm trying to accomplish here. Okay, and try to get those close so I don't have little threads that's catching up in the zipper. So here's the little collar. So hopefully you will barely be able to see where that little bias tape piece is. That'll fit right around her little neck. And voila. So I'm going to get the other sleeve on, and then I will stitch and serge. I don't know if I'll show that, going down the side seams, and then start putting the other ruffles on. Might as well do this real quick while I'm at it, huh? Pull these pieces of the zipper over here. Because I will need that. Probably not the absolute best there. We'll see how that looks later. Okay, I will stop this one.